we cannot be able to find Yeshua, the miracle worker, in Judea during the Roman occupation. But we can find people named Yeshua. Just like we can find people named Peter Parker in New York. But we cannot find Peter Parker, the Spider-Man. You know what? This is common sense. So, as we have established this, the second stage in demystifying who Jesus Christ is, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, who he is to look at the origin of where all of those things came from. We, as West Africans, we are older than Kemet. Kemet originated from the late Bronze Age, which is the late Oga. Okay? It basically took off within the very beginning of Uga Azi. The whole idea of Jesus is so recent compared to what I am about to explain. It is too recent. It's like a mother, like right now, I know. 1,000 years from now, Mother Bia saying Ebukobi is God. Just like that. You just imagine 1,000 years later. Ebukobi jiko God. No jiko followers. Ojiko shot or down in Nubu Stadium. Ojiko Menka. Ojiko Sina Gregory Obiga president. All this thing. Ojiko blessing that shaved their head, that had all those kind of stuff. Just imagine that. Okay? Because people, you see, history always repeats itself. And there's nothing new under the sun. You know? If you have saved yourself from Abrahamism, it's very easy for you to, you'll be able to easily understand everything and explain it. Because all it takes is common sense. Common sense is all it would take. But when you are in prison, when your life is being ruled by your reptile brain function, and when you're not going to tell you until it, unless your higher brain function, that's how you start to think about all of this thing. So the entire culture of Osiris, Asar, originated from the culture of Ahobunagu. Okay, that's where it comes from. It comes from Ahobunagu. That's where the Osirian culture originated from, and it is very provable. It originated from Inner Africa, and even it was recorded in Kemet that Osiris, Asar, originated from Inner Africa. Right? I am the one that decoded Osiris to mean Ose Ora, the mind's eye, Ako Nuche, Ose Ora. That's who Osiris is. Okay, and what did Osiris do? Osiris is everything Ahobunagu is. And in our culture of Ahobunagu, which is much older than our culture of Ahobunagu originated from Ogaka. You understand? But the Osirian culture originated from the Bronze Age, which is Ogba-Nkwu. Okay? Ahobunagu sacrificed himself for Igbo people to have yam. We have a cosmology, a culture, a mythology of the divinity known as Ahobunagu sacrificing his life force for Igbo people to have yam. This is the same way Osiris was killed in order to become the chief judge of all human souls. Every person that dies eventually becomes Osiris, Asar. You understand? This is the same way Jesus Christ was sacrificed, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, in the mythology of the creed, because they stole all of these things from Kemet. Okay? Kemet is like a manifestation of our higher self. I've done presentation, I've written articles of how the Greeks invented Yeshua, the mythology of Yeshua, using Seraphis Christos. Seraphis Christos is actually a Greek invention, okay? Using Apis, the bull culture of Kemet, and Osiris conjoined together to invent what we know today as Yeshua, Jesus, the mythology. Then the Romans inherited the concept of Seraphis Christos and used it to invent Yeshua, the miracle worker that gets sacrificed, the the slain god, the idea of the slain divinity. It's just like Ahobunagu. The Ahobunagu is the representation of a slain divinity in order for humanity to benefit. You know, that's the same way they'll tell you that Jesus is a slain divinity. The whole entire concept of Jesus dying for your sin is basically that his death was for your own benefit. You know, this is the same way our mythology of Ahobunagu is for Ahobunagu sacrificed his life force for the benefits of Ndi Igbo. You understand? The same way Osiris sacrificed his life force for the salvation of the Kemet people. You understand? So it's, you know, when you start to go into the mythology, different aspects, different things, all the miracles, even many of these miracles were copied from the walls of Kemet. The Greco-Romans copied this miracle, this so-called miracle, from a mythology in the walls of Kemet, based on our ancestral ancient knowledge. In Awata, there was a time Agwu Ishi was actually mythologized. They actually, during his time, in the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, people actually thought that Agwu Ishi's alligator, or whatever, the Agwu that he's basically holding in hand, that it has some kind of supernatural power, that he uses it to, like, and that he himself, Agwu Ishi, transformed to Agwu itself. You understand? Which are all a fabrication. You know, so like Agwu Ishi, a human being, a normal human being, can be mythologized. You know, like Otano now, that I refer to myself as Ugoebenaja. Some people might take me and mythologize me as like an eagle that doesn't perch on sand. You understand? That's mythology. That is not real. That is not factual. You know what? That is not real. That is not factual. That is a human invention. One of the most sacred Christian rituals is the Holy Communion. The concept of eating the flesh of Jesus as a form of bread and drinking red wine as a form of his blood. You see? That originated from Kemet, and the Kemet concept of it originated from our culture of Ahobunagu. When Ahobunagu sacrificed his life force for us to have yam, it becomes that when we are eating yam, we are eating the flesh of Ahobunagu. You get it now? You see? In our culture, perfect example, we have another mythology similar to that. The mythology of Ado Igbo, Ozado, Nubudog, Ado. You see? Ozado came from the sky and planted himself on earth, and yam emerged from his body. Thus, when we eat yam, we are eating the flesh of Ado. You see, this is an ancient mythology. This is an ancient mythology that the Christians copied. They copied it and used it and created a mythology of a dude named Yeshua, who you are eating his flesh during Holy Communion and drinking red wine as his blood. You see? It's a much older tradition, a much older ritual that originated from original people of the earth. But today they will tell you it's a Christian ritual. Oh, it's our own. But it did not originate from them. As I just explained it to you guys right now, that Ahobunagu sacrificed his life force in order for us to have yam. Therefore, when we are eating yam, we are eating the life force of Ahobunagu. And that's what the Christians plagiarized as the eating of the flesh of Jesus as bread, and the drinking of his blood as wine. As you guys can see, now, this is Osiris buried. Remember, I told you originated from Ahobunagu. See, when everything I'm talking about, I can prove. So as you can see, this is an ancient Kemet individual watering the body of Ausar, the laying body of Ausar. And guess what? Food is sprouting from his body like leaves. Enough here? Now, I gave you guys two mythologies that exist in Igbo culture. One, known as Ozado, the culture of Adu Chukwu, and the culture of Ahobunagu, where Ahobunagu sacrificed his life force for us to have yam. You know what? Just like Ado sacrificed himself in order for us to have yam. The same way Ausar food grew out from the body of Ausar. And you see a man there watering the body. Thousands of years later, Indiana Christians created a fictitious ritual, their own ritual, telling you, Nita bread, that you are eating the body of Christ. Now, when this red wine, you are drinking the blood of Christ. So, if you guys, many of you guys know all my arts of Ahobunagu. I have a lot of arts of Ahobunagu, okay? So, if you guys notice that in the arts I create of Ahobunagu, that Ahobunagu, the being, the force, is one and the same with the forest. This is the same way Osiris, Ausar, is one and the same with the forest, the plants, the grass, the food, the trees. That's what they showed you in the image I shared to you from Kemet. Finding a person named Yeshua in Judea does not prove that there is a God named Yeshua, a virgin moral. When 3 days later, we're saying your name. The creators of the Christian religion yanked the most common name in Judea and used it to create a mythology. The same way Stan Lee yanked the most common name in New York, the most common Western name, Peter and Parker, and used it to create Peter Parker, the Spider-Man. You know what they are now? Stan Lee took the name Peter and Parker and used it to create Peter Parker, the Spider-Man that lives in New York City. Spider, where tire? Obido fairly where? Obido fairly where's there? Brazil superhero. That's Stan Lee's invention. This is the same way the creators of the Christian faith, the Christian religion, took the name Yeshua and used it to create a mythology of a being that was birthed by a virgin and died and resurrected 3 days later.